Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech and Auto Show. I'm your host Manav Sinha and it is so good to see all of you lovely people once again. In case you're new here, well, welcome. You've just tuned into the Tech and Auto Show, which is your one-place solution for both technology as well as automobiles, which means why should you watch two shows when you can watch one? This one. Now, just like every time, this time as well, there's a lot of action, trust me, that we have to cover in this episode. So we're going to kick things off right away by first showing you a glimpse of what you can expect over the course of the next half an hour. This week, we'll be taking you for a ride in an exclusive review of the Honda CBR650R. That's not it. We'll also take a look into the world of privacy and find out what is it that you can do to stay safer on the internet. And that's not it. We'll also tell you all about the latest supercar that is entering India, the Lamborghini Huracan STO. So there you have it. All of that action will be coming your way. But we're going to start off with motorcycles. And yes, in case you've noticed, this is the 2021 Honda Goldwing. We are at Honda's Big Wing dealership. We'll be telling you all about their Honda motorcycles. But right now, it's time to talk about one particular Honda motorcycle. That is called the Honda CBR650R. That's their middleweight superbike offering. And well, I got my hands on it, and here's how my experience went. Now this is a really special motorcycle that I have for you today. This is the Honda CBR650R, the 2021 model, and the motorcycle it replaces is the Honda CBR650F. Now that was one of my favorite middleweight motorcycles because, well, it was usable. All of that performance was usable for every day. It was a very well-mannered machine, but the whole deal about the CBR650R is the fact that this has lost some of its manners. It's become brash, it's become loud, bold, as you can clearly see, and more sportier than before. At least that's what it looks like. Well, let's find out more. Now let's start with the design of the motorcycle, and right away you can see Honda has pulled off a fantastic job. In my opinion, this is one of the best looking fully fared motorcycles in the Indian market, period. Not only in its segment. That's how good this motorcycle is. At this point, I've driven this motorcycle for a few days, and wherever I have gone, this is nothing short of a head turner. Everybody looks at it. And a big reason for that is, well, this looks like an all-out sports bike, at least from the angle at which you're looking. The reason for that is because this design is very similar to the older generation Honda Fireblade, and that's never a bad thing. It looks fantastic. Also, I want to point out that these two new LED headlamps, they were great in the night, something that was a bit of an issue in the older CBR650F. The LED lighting continues all around the motorcycle, and as is the case with premium Honda motorcycles, the fit and finish of everything is top-notch. Special mention for the seats as they are very comfortable and the pillion seat is actually usable, something that is not normally the case with fully fared motorcycles. Fun fact, you see these slots next to the headlamps? They're not there just for looks. These are fully functional ram air intakes and hence make for good bragging rights. Now it's not only become sportier in terms of styling, as you can clearly see, but it's also become sportier in the way you sit on the motorcycle. The seat height is same as before, and that means me being 5'10", I can plant both my feet firmly onto the ground, and this is something that a lot of riders will appreciate. But it is the other things in the rider's triangle that have been fiddled about. Let's start with the foot pegs. They're a little bit higher up, a little bit rear set, so you have this sporty seating position, and the handlebar, well, you have to reach out to it a little bit now. It's not as comfortable as it used to be in the CBR650F, and that's not a bad thing. It gives you that sporty stance. It's not in league with the proper performance sports motorcycles, so it's not a pain in the back, quite literally. You can still do touring on it. There will be a little bit of a pressure on your wrists, but it is something that you will get used to. The wind deflector on the CBR650R is decent, but it would be better if you put a bigger one on it. Honda has also taken notice and given the motorcycle an up-to-date digital instrument cluster which tells you everything you need to know. If at all, it's a tad bit small and not very fancy, but it doesn't look odd anymore and it does the job, so no complaints. Now the highlight about the CBR650R is definitely the engine that it has. Yes, it's a 4-cylinder engine. It sounds brilliant, but what has changed now is the character of the motorcycle. Now Honda has given it 1000 revs more, And in terms of the change in characteristics, well, below 6,000 RPM, this motorcycle is a lot more docile than before. It's a city-friendly motorcycle. You can slot it in 4th gear at about 27 kilometers an hour and get away with your bad roads and get through city traffic. But once you go past the 6,000 RPM mark, this motorcycle changes character. It becomes a hooligan. It's like a beast getting unleashed, and it screams. Yes, that was something that the CBR650F owners wanted. They wanted a loud exhaust. Well, this sounds like a proper 4-cylinder motorcycle now.
Just don't keep it at 6,000 RPM, because at that point there are noticeable vibrations, but above and below that it's all refinement city. So it looks the part, it sounds the part, and continues to impress in other departments as well. For example, it has non-adjustable Showa upside-down forks at the front, and the entire suspension setup, along with the updated chassis, has improved the versatility of the motorcycle even more. Ground clearance is not an issue either, and the drivetrain is so refined that the bike does not fatigue you at all. There are no riding modes of the motorcycle, as instead, it has the old-school cable-operated throttle, which actually makes for a great connect with the bike. The on-off transitions can sometimes be a little bit harsh, but it is nitpicking really, given how refined the whole experience is. The clutch lever feels light to use, and the transmission is happy to keep up with whatever you throw at it. It does get ABS and also has a traction control system which can be turned off, but the switch for it is placed at a rather odd position where you would usually have a headlight pass switch. You do have to keep it pressed for a second or so to engage it, so you won't be switching it off or on by mistake. And lastly, the brakes do a good job with ample bite and feedback to the rider. The CBR650R is also quite a lot lighter than before, and a big chunk of it comes from these lighter wheels, which also, in coherence with the updated riding position, has made the motorcycle feel livelier and ready to change directions faster.
So to sum it all up, it's fantastic. I mean, that's as short as I can make it. But what we need to talk about is the price. Yes, this is an expensive motorcycle to buy. There's no two way about it. I agree with you. But what you need to understand is that this is a Honda. So you have two things going for you once you buy that motorcycle and you pay that high initial amount, which is the fact that first, it's going to be ultra reliable. It's a Honda. And second, the owning cost, the ownership, servicing and parts cost of a Honda is one of the best in the country amongst all premium motorcycle, and Honda has built a reputation on top of it. So you need to keep in mind when you consider the price aspect of this motorcycle. Having said that, if price is not an issue for you, I think the CBR650R is one of the best middleweight motorcycles that you can buy. Now let's move on to the world of technology, and in that world, between the new product launches of mobile phones, smartphones, TVs, smartwatches and everything in between, what's really standing out today is privacy. And it's evident if you talk about any new software update, almost every company is talking about privacy today. But what if there was a phone that really gives you the freedom? What am I on about? Well, I'll let Tarab take over and tell you all about it up next.
Former US President Donald Trump has been rather silent this year. Now that is not because he is not the President of the United States anymore. That is because Trump has lost something that he used to really thrive on, his access to social media platforms like Twitter. The former US President was permanently suspended from major social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook after he violated their policies against glorifying violence and hate speech in the wake of the January 6th incident where Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building in the United States. Before that, Google had banned a social media app called Parler, which was a favorite among Trump's supporters, from the Google Play Store due to the lack of content moderation. All of this was followed by pent-up demand to get Trump's social media suspended in order of repeated violations of policies against misinformation and at times hate speech. Now, to cater those set of people, a 22-year-old self-proclaimed Bitcoin millionaire named Eric Finman has come up with a smartphone named Freedom Phone. Now, the Freedom Phone is a $499 smartphone that is claimed to free people from big tech's influence and censorship. The main person behind it, Eric Finman, says that the Freedom Phone is the first major pushback towards the big tech that attacked the American conservatives. It features an uncensorable app store that is claimed to offer all the apps that have been banned from major app stores like the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store. The Freedom Phone is claimed to run on a free speech first operating system named Freedom OS. Now this is not to be confused with Freedom OS, the custom ROM for OnePlus smartphones. The official website of the Freedom Phone does not give out any specification or details about the smartphone. It however says that the Freedom Phone supports all US and international carriers. So, does the Freedom Phone offer everything that its makers claim? Is it truly free of any kind of association with any big tech companies? Let's find out. Now, the Freedom Phone is claimed to be an America First smartphone, but the smartphone is manufactured in China. The company's founder Finman in an interview said that the Freedom Phone is being manufactured by a Chinese brand named Yumidigi. This he later justified in a tweet saying that it is impossible, unfortunately, to make a smartphone in the US from top to bottom. After taking a close look at the Freedom Phone, we couldn't help but notice that it looks eerily similar to the Yumidigi A9 Pro. Now this smartphone costs about $150 in the US depending upon the retailer. However, we can't confirm that the Freedom Phone is in fact a rebranded version of the Yumidigi A9 Pro since the specifications of the Freedom Phone are not available. Now coming to the software, a report in XDA developers pointed out that the uncensorable App Store, that is also named as the Petri App Store, is actually a rebranded version of the Aurora App Store. Now the Aurora Store is actually a front-end open source for the Google Play Store. So if the Petri App Store is actually a rebranded version of the Aurora Store, it basically means that all apps on the uncensorable App Store are likely to be sourced from the Google Play Store. This also means that the makers have no control over the App Store's contents and can't really guarantee the censor-free experience that they claim to offer. So Freedom OS comes with a security tool named Trust. The logo for this Trust security tool is also looks inspired from Lineage OS's Trust feature. So largely, while claiming to free people from the influence and censorship of the big tech companies, the Freedom Phone itself uses a lot of Google's own services. The smartphone comes with a lot of red flags and does not or cannot offer all the features that its makers claims that it does. Making a smartphone without sharing technology or without using the services that big tech companies provide is not an easy job. We all saw what happened with the Chinese smartphone maker Huawei. As soon as it lost access to Google's services, the company wasn't really able to make its smartphones work. The smartphone doesn't even provide any real value in terms of the tech that its buyers will get for the price, for the $499 price that they pay for the Freedom Phone. The Freedom Phone aims to capitalize on the notion that the big tech companies have a bias against the conservative right wing in the US.
Well, it's always a special day when a car like this comes to our shores, and this one is one of the most exquisite ones to ever make roads to our country. This is the Lamborghini Huracan STO, and in short, this is an out-and-out sports car dressed in casual clothing. Now, a car as exquisite as this demands a little bit more attention, so here's everything that you need to know about the all-new Huracan STO.
Now, as the name suggests, the Huracan STO is based on the Lamborghini Huracan, and it is the most extreme version of it ever. It is basically a road-going version of the Huracan Super Trofeo and the Lamborghini GT3 racing cars, which is signified by the full form of the STO in this car's name, which stands for Super Trofeo Omologata. This is based on the car that has won 24 Hours of Daytona in 2018, 2019 and 2020, 3 years in a row. It is powered by a V10 naturally aspirated engine that makes 640 horsepower and 565 Newton meters of torque. And the car is light, really light. 75% of the STO's body panels are carbon fiber, and it does away with the 4-wheel drive system from the Huracan, and as a result, it is 43 kgs lighter than the Huracan Performante, which has now been discontinued. And mind you, 43 kilos is a massive amount in supercar world. Other weight-saving measures include a 20% lighter windscreen, new magnesium wheels, and an updated rear wing which maintains the same rigidity while using 25% less carbon material when compared to the Performante. Inside the new Lamborghini, the cockpit has been updated with a host of carbon elements, and the company has gone to the lengths of putting in carbon-weaved floor mats and even lightweight door latches. On the outside, the STO also gets an extreme aerodynamic makeover which has been done after extensive wind tunnel testing. And as a result, there are new bonnet ducts, and the bonnet, the splitter and the front bumper are all now one piece, similar to how it is on a race car. There are new wheel arch vents to improve brake cooling, and the aerodynamics and the underbody of the car has been reworked along with the rear diffuser too. The big visual change, however, is the new large air scoop which sits on top of the engine cover and accompanies the large shark fin design element behind it, which is meant to improve stability. The large rear wing is manually adjustable too for better airflow. All in all, these changes have helped Lamborghini achieve 37% increase in airflow efficiency and a massive 53% downforce increase, which is 450 kilos of it at 280 kilometers an hour, as compared to the Huracan Performante. The car also gets new tires which are specifically built for this car and are called Bridgestone Potenza, and these are matched with the updated braking system, which is the Brembo CCMR system that uses F1 optimized carbon ceramic materials, giving the car extreme levels of grip and braking power. But the changes don't stop there. There have been numerous chassis updates. There is a wider wheel track, updated steering response that works in tandem with rear wheel steering, stiffer suspension, and a new anti-roll bar design. The Lamborghini Huracan STO gets 3 new drive modes as well. The default is called the STO mode. Then there's the Trofeo mode, which is the sportiest setting, and the Pure Gear mode, which is meant for tricky weather conditions. All in all, the new Lamborghini Huracan STO is one of the most extreme, performance-oriented, and without a doubt, one of the fastest cars that you can buy in India right now. And perhaps also one of the most expensive, as it is priced at 4.99 crores ex-showroom.
So there you have it. That was the Lamborghini Huracan STO, and of course by the looks of it you can make out this is one of the most hardcore cars that you can buy in the Indian market right now. But there is more to it than what meets the eye. That is the fact that this is not only special in terms of performance, but also it's one of the last few cars of its kind that is making its way to the Indian market, because well, as time goes by, things are going to get better, things are going to get faster, but the naturally aspirated experience, well, that is something that this is as pure as it can get. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Tech and Auto Show. How did you find the show? Is there anything you have to say, anything you want us to cover, or simply want to have a conversation with us? Well, reach out to us on Twitter. We are more than happy to talk. If it's about technology, reach out to us at News18 Tech. If it's about automobiles, tweet out to us at News18 Auto. And remember, by logging on to news18.com, you can read up more on both these industries. Well, that's about all for today. Yes, we have been here at the Honda Big Wing dealership. Yes, today you saw the review of the Honda CBR650R. Next week, who knows, probably the review of the CB650R might come. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you same time next week, only on CNN News 18.